speaking of Uncharted.
Ooh, transition.
So I got to apologize up front. I had a rough gaming month. I tried to find a nice golden nugget, a nice golden trinket, you might say, to talk about for this show. And I didn't really find a gold trinket. It was more like a couple of bronze, not even copper, definitely bronze coins, like all rusted over. It wasn't great. But the first one was Uncharted Lost Legacy, a DLC, basically, that was made with the same engine that Uncharted 4 was made in. It came out a little bit after Uncharted 4, and it was marketed it had an odd marketing to it. It was marketed as a DLC, but it wasn't too long afterwards that it was released on its own disc. And I had a hard time finding out like how big it was, how long it would take to beat it. And I was like a little sketched out because it was being sold for like $40. And I was like, for DLC, I don't think so. So I waited a long, long time. And I picked it up for $20 on disc. So I really appreciate that it brings back Chloe from Uncharted 2, I believe. It also has Nadine from Uncharted 4. So the two ladies pair up and they are in India, which was another thing that I really liked about this game. It's a different setting from the other Uncharted games, and they really embraced the aesthetic, the Indian aesthetic. It looked nice. There were lots of colors in the market, and the biome, I guess, the plants and trees and everything look different. There's this one level where you come up on a herd of elephants. You actually free a baby elephant with air quotes because it's still huge compared to the player characters, and you just spend time with the herd of elephants for a minute. And it's really cool. It's just something different from the South American setting that most of the Uncharted's have. I liked that the story was 9 chapters. It's a complete story. It's not necessarily short, and I'll get into that, but it's shorter than a full game. I like that they had an idea and they went with it, and they didn't pad it out to make it a full game, because they definitely could have done that and that would have sucked. I like that they kept it to 9 chapters, and I believe I played it in 5 or 6 hours. So that's a significant DLC. Oh. I lied. My notes say I spent 20 hours on it.
What?
I don't know. It was more than a typical 2-hour DLC. It was chunky.
So it's that awkward. It's another one of those awkward in the middle of. They said it was a DLC, but then because it started as a DLC, but then they sell it differently because it's a little bigger, but it's not like an expansion.
Yeah, it was
like a world game. It's one of those weird ones.
It was one of those weird DLCs, kind of like The Witcher, where it's like it's basically another game when you compare it to anything else on the market, but it's just DLC. So it's really weird. The 4th level, I'm going to compare to the Silent Cartographer because it's very much, it felt like that level of Halo so much. After 3 levels of like follow the thing, climb the thing, shoot the guys, it opens up and you have this big place to explore and many objectives to do and many optional objectives to do. And level 4 took about 1/3 of my time in the whole game. It was so huge. It was literally 3 play sessions for me to finish that level.
Ugh,
So
that's rough.
yes and no. It gives you a map and it checks off where you've been and when you've finished the objectives. And it gives you a really important trinket that acts as a warning when you're near all the other trinkets. So it makes collecting so much easier, but you had to put in the work to get that trinket. So very, very solid level. The climbing and cover system in this game broke me. And I want to say I just have nostalgia for Uncharted 4. It probably had the same issues and I just don't remember it. But I almost stopped playing because I was so frustrated with trying to climb and it would just jump off a cliff or jump into cover and it didn't and I would die, or get out of cover and run away and it would stay stuck to the wall. It was just like...
It feels very strange saying nostalgia for Uncharted 4 because it feels like yesterday when that came out.
Right. And I think it's just because it was such an epic climactic finish, as far as we know, for Nathan Drake. It was so good that it was just automatically a classic.
True. Very, very true.
It's such a tough product to sell because it's the kind of sort of DLC that we've already talked about. It's just difficult to explain what it is and try to sell it for $40, especially when you release it on a separate CD. And it's just one of those weird DLC things. The CD came bundled with Uncharted 4's multiplayer, which I didn't even touch on this playthrough because I'm sure that's pretty much dead by now. I kind of wish that it had come with something a little extra instead. A challenge mode, an arcade mode, speed run mode, extra tombs or something to make the $40 worth it. Like, it was stuck in such a weird limbo. They should have either done a cheaper, like $25, $30 DLC just for the story, or $40 and it comes with some lesser distraction from the story besides Uncharted 4's multiplayer. As it is, it's 9 great chapters. I got it for $20, worth it. And it's to the point that I can understand why they tried for 40, but again, depending on how much of an Uncharted fan you are, I can kind of understand $40 now that I've played through it all. But it was only 9 chapters, and I felt kind of cheated, and that was, I don't know, 10 minutes of review.